Welcome back in. We're here to help you guys out, help you transform. Any questions at all are welcome. Whatever you're struggling with, you're trying to create more in your life. Relationship problems, dating, self-growth, we're diving into it. I've helped over 100 men and women in my coaching practice transform their lives, so we're here to help you guys out too. Any questions at all are welcome. Okay, trying to set up YouTube. Keeps falling. There we go. Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. All right. Who's got some questions? Let's see who's popping in today. Welcome in, guys. Any questions are welcome. Whatever you're struggling with, you're trying to advance with more in your life. We're going to help you guys out. What do we got today? What are you guys working through? What do you want to advance with? What are you trying to create? We're here to help you guys out. Not sponsored, but this is fire. What questions we have today, guys? What are you guys working through? What do you need some guidance with? Any questions are welcome. We just started the live. So let's see who's going to pop in today. Feel free to ask some questions. All right, Fareed. Appreciate the question. Struggling with balancing relationship attention with financial growth. Oh, this is a good question. So if your woman is, or man, let's say you're a man. If your woman is truly connected to you, she will support your growth, even if you spend more time dedicated to your business and your job and work and making money over her for a certain period of time. It's only natural. Me and my girlfriend see each other on average once a week. I run 2 businesses. She works 9 to 5, then goes to classes in the evenings. Like, we're both exceptionally busy. We're so connected to each other, though, so we make time for each other. But balancing relationship attention with financial growth, if your girl is one of those girls where she needs to text you 24/7 and she can't support your vision, she's not the right girl. That being said, Fareed, if you're struggling to balance this, even kind of with the stuff I mentioned, and an acceptance of that, shoot me a DM about this. Would love to dive into it with you further, so give you some actionable steps about where it's coming up for you. Let's see. Eno said, for some reason I can't find myself to get motivated. Okay, because you're trying to get yourself motivated to do things that you don't actually care about. That's the problem here. You have to connect to the vision of what you have on why you're building this thing, why you're doing this task. Your body is procrastinating it because you don't see the purpose in doing the task to then get the outcome. You don't care about the outcome. Even if it's for getting in the gym and losing weight, for example. Telling yourself, it's going to be healthier if I lose weight, isn't enough of a reason to get motivated. It's like, hey, women will give me more attention. I'll be able to get up out of bed in the morning with more energy. I'll be able to lift things. Like, if you come up with all the deep reasons and connect to those, you're not going to have a motivational problem anymore. It's the fact that you're not connected to these things that keeps you stuck. You're trying to be motivated for things you don't care about. You have to find a way to care about them, or do something that you care about before doing that thing that you don't care about so you get it done. And Eno, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about how to do this further, would love to dive into it deeper. Why does someone people please? We people please because what's going on, everyone on YouTube? We people please because we feel stuck, and our self-worth is derived not from ourselves, but us trying to meet other people's needs while rejecting our own. And then you constantly feel stuck. That's why people who are people pleasers are always like, I don't want to be a people pleaser. Yet you keep doing it. Start saying no. When somebody asks you to do something you don't align with, doesn't align with your values, you don't want to do it, start saying no. It's a very good first step for a people pleaser. Thoughts on free will? I believe free will exists, and there's certain things that we aren't in control of as well. All right, let's see. What's next? Surjith said, how to get over a heartbreak where you don't know what went wrong. Oh, yeah, well, this is the most difficult part if you have no closure. Here's the thing. You have your closure. They were a dishonest person, and they refuse to tell you why. That's not somebody you can be in a long-term relationship with. Now, the grieving and the feelings and the anger and the sadness and the confusion, allow that to be there. Feel it. It's in you not feeling that and running away from it that allows you to not process this. Now, use this as motivation to build in your life. Like, if you feel angry, get in the gym and do things that you care about, right? But if you don't know what went wrong, you do know what went wrong. They weren't honest. They're not an honest person, and that you can't have a long-term relationship with someone anyway. So it's good that it didn't work out, even if it feels bad right now. And Surjith, I have a bunch of material I created in my group coaching practice about overcoming heartbreak, processing pain. I'll shoot that over to you in the DMs if you want to shoot me a DM about this. Hey man, what's going on, Yuko? Thank you so much. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Anno, if you want to shoot me a follow, would love to see you back in here. How can I move on from my mistake? Well, it depends. What was the mistake that you made? Why do they ghost you instead of breaking up? Because they aren't a mature human being. And they have a fear of confrontation, a fear of reality, and being honest with people. It's not somebody you can build with, so it's good that it ended. They triple texted you and called you and said they loved you, only the ghost. Yeah, they were lying to you. Somebody calls you, they want attention. They don't want a relationship. There's a difference. Tension is integrated into relationships, but if it's not properly integrated, you're just draining each other's energy. So that was their purpose here, and they were doing that thing called love bombing to get you to think that they care. Now, here's the thing. You have to get better at reading men. And reading if he's lying to you or being honest, getting more connected to your intuition and the red flags that he's putting up. Don't ignore those. What's going on, Ash? Let's see. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Who's got the next question? Let's dive into it. Nick, I see you requested to go live with me. We're not having people on the panel today, just because we got so many questions that always come in. Ida said, "Where did you get your degree?" I don't have a degree. I dropped out of university. I was learning more about psychology and helping people change their lives. Not in school. Hated school my whole life. Never enjoyed being told what to do, and didn't want to be in the medical industry. But I've helped over 100 men and women transform their lives in my coaching practice. It's a blessing to be able to do what I do. Let's see. What's up, everyone on YouTube? Feel free to ask for advice. Throw questions down below about self-growth, relationships, spirituality. We got TikTok over here. He was there and supported me when everyone argued with me. So he was there for you, gave you a little bit of attention, and then ghosted you. He didn't truly care. He just made you feel like he did. What was the life lesson you learned on vacation? I have to be more present. If you aren't present in your life and you're just working and doing tasks, your life is going to float by. In 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, you're going to wake up and you're like, what did I do over the last year? I can't even remember anything because my head was down the whole time. I wasn't actually here. You got to be more present. So that's the biggest thing I learned on vacation. How you doing, dog? Doing good, Artie. How are you? You play soccer professionally in Europe and tore your ACL. It's tough. I'm considering a retirement. You're 21. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, look, sports industry injuries are the worst because obviously if you can't play the sport if you have an injury like that. How long is the recovery time? What's the team situation? Like, is there a way you can come back from this? What were you initially planning on majoring in? Oh, I was studying psychology. I was just learning more about psychology on my own time rather than being in school. It's a lot of surface level stuff there. Do you like Taylor Swift? I do. Can't say yes. Welcome in, everybody. My eyes are beautiful. Appreciate that. Welcome in, everybody. Feel free to throw some questions down below. Help you guys out. Any questions are welcome. Any questions are welcome. Welcome in. Who's got the next question? We usually have people spamming. Let's go. Clemson, you just gave me an obvious one. I'm undelivered for 2 years. What do I do? Move on. Find somebody that actually cares about you. Hey, do you know algebra math? I don't need help, just wondering. No, math was my worst subject. Am I in a relationship? I am. How can I help a person to be respectful? For example, I want to talk, but he's on the phone. You invite them to. If you're saying you want to talk, but he's on the phone, are they busy with something and you're interrupting them? What's the situation here? Did you go to school for being a life coach? They don't have schools for life coaching. It's not a medical thing. Brad, what's going on, guy? Welcome back in. Glad to see you here. We miss you on. That's a crazy comment. Yeah, YouTube. You guys gotta throw some more legitimate questions so I actually pay attention to you. If you guys just put troll comments, not gonna address them. Um, let's see. 23 female. Want to start dating, but super afraid. Once I start getting close to someone, I want to escape. Okay, yeah, you're afraid of men. And you could be afraid of yourself too. This could go back to childhood, the relationship with your dad. Could also be that men have done you dirty in the past and you don't trust them. So you always feel like when you start to feel connected and close, you have to sabotage that and run away because they're going to sabotage it, even though they might not have ever thought about sabotaging it and you just ruined it, right? So, um, but you said you want to start dating, but you're afraid. So you haven't dated yet. Is that correct? Karai, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about this, I'll shoot you over a bunch of stuff there that could really help you out too. Um, Brooklyn, what's going on? 21, no friends, partially autistic. Feel like maybe I'm the problem. What about yourself do you feel like is the problem? Because maybe the explanation of that is somewhat legitimate and you can work on it, or sometimes it's just a narrative you're creating in your head that's projecting out into reality, affecting things, but it's not really real, right? That's a possibility too. So, Brooklyn, where do you feel like that comes up for you? Where do you feel like you're the problem? I really want to find someone like me, but yeah, your comment didn't go all the way through. Stacia said, "I'm heartbroken. A girl broke up with me, and I don't know the reason why." Yeah, they weren't being honest with you. That's why you don't know the reason why. But if you investigate it deep enough, you'll probably see. Maybe they were bored with you. Maybe it's something that you did to sabotage it, and you don't want to look at that. Could also be that this person isn't very honest. Um, I've got a friend, and she gets rude sometimes, and I don't know what to say or how to handle it. Okay, so all Alia, you have a fear of confrontation, right? Your friend is rude, you don't know how to handle it or say something. Say, hey, this thing you're saying, I don't appreciate that. Let's have a conversation about it, right? If you constantly reject yourself and how you feel and don't address this, they're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep feeling miserable and your relationship will collapse. So you have a friend that gets rude, you have to confront them being rude. Hey, I don't appreciate you doing this, right? Make that clear. And you can do that in a respectful way. They may not take it in a respectful way, but if you're doing that, that's what matters. If they can't change their behavior, your friendship might not continue. Help with life, Will said. Marry your best friend. I did, and I'm 12 years together, 6 years married. That's beautiful. I really want to find someone like me, but everyone here just is very different. When you say you want to find someone like you, in what capacity? Is this a romantic relationship? Is this a friendship? Just people in general? And what about other people is different? Like what about you is quote unquote special? That is so different than other people, and you can't find that. Never dated, just a little bit when I was 13. Okay, if you never dated before, you're just afraid because it's something you haven't done, and you're in your early 20s, right? So the best thing to do is to go on a date in a public place and where there's a lot of people around where you feel safe and just have a curious conversation and just see where it leads. Maybe it doesn't lead anywhere, maybe it does. And that's a good place to start. Mason, can you please stop commenting and spamming the exact same thing? I really appreciate it. Let's see. Suma said, how does one become a life coach? Well, I was diagnosed with depression when I was 13. Dealt with it until I was 16 and was able to completely overcome it. And got really focused on self growth, psychology, spirituality, philosophy over the next 7 years of my life. And completely transformed my life in every aspect. And I've helped over 100 men and women in my coaching practice. So I'm kind of similar to a therapist, but I'm not in the medical industry. Welcome in, everybody. Feel free to throw some questions down below. What do you think about Godzilla? I think he's pretty cool. Yeah, Godzilla's pretty dope. I like the movies. Welcome in, everybody. What's your opinions on people who are cold and have an I don't care mindset? Well, I used to be that way. They're very disconnected. They don't know how to experience their emotions, and they have had one or two bad experiences, and now they project that onto all other aspects of reality. They feel like they're the victim, and so it's like, oh, I don't care about anything anymore. and then because they were a victim in one area of life, they now take that and make themselves a victim in other areas, which they don't have to do, by the way. But it's a narrative, a self-fulfilling prophecy. When I was depressed when I was younger, that's what I did. Everything that was positive, I took it and made it something negative. All this stuff just constantly created itself. So, that being said, you can help people improve this, but it's only an invitation to kind of, hey, why do you not care about things? And then see what their answer is. Can't get any friends at the first day of college? Why not? There's so many human beings. Just walk up to them, say, hey, I'm new here, trying to meet new people. What's your name? It's all you got to do to meet people at university. I wish that's one of the things that I wish I did in my first week and month of university is go up to as many people as possible. Do that, and that'll be good. That'll be Mason. No, I'm not going to answer your question. We don't talk about politics here. How do you handle? But Mason, I am going to answer your other question. How do you handle someone who thinks they are also right but aren't? Okay, somebody that thinks they're right but they aren't. You can't. There's biases that we have as human beings, and we have egos. So even if there are certain things that are completely untrue, but we think they're true, or we have some level of evidence to back it up, we will die on that hill. Now, this is somebody that isn't very open-minded. So if they think they're right, but they aren't. Now, that being said, when it comes to the idea of right or wrong, whatever argument we're both making, there's usually some truth to both people's arguments. Maybe your argument is more true than theirs. That could be possible. But only argue with people where you guys are actually open to having your mind changed. If you're not open to growing and getting new perspective, you're wasting your breath if you're arguing with someone. Doesn't do anything. Good. Any book recommendations? The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I just picked up the Red Book by Carl Jung. A YouTube channel, Pursuit of Wonder. I don't know what his actual name is. Robert Pantano, I think it is. Another book I'm reading, The Art of a Meaningless Existence. It's a philosophy book. I did confront that friend, but my reaction makes her laugh because she successfully rage baited me. Yeah, so if you confront your friend and then they rage bait you further and they start laughing, say it again. Like you for example, if you say, hey, I don't appreciate you the way that you disrespected me the other day, and they start laughing, stare at them, and when they're done laughing, say, I didn't appreciate you saying that. Now they know you're serious and you're standing on business. If you just confront them and then they laugh it off and you allow that and then go to another conversation, yeah, you're not actually confronting them. Stand your ground. It's going to do wonders for you. Snake said, I try to make things positive, but it's really hard. Any tips? Well, it's hard to make things positive because you're trying to make them positive for the sake of them being positive rather than actually seeing reality. Now, here's the thing. There are a lot of positive things in reality. The question is, are you open to seeing what that is? Are you open to seeing the opportunities in front of you that you're rejecting consciously? Are you open to seeing the habits that you have that are destructing your life and you're blaming somebody else for it? Right? Are you open to challenging yourself? If you are, you're going to find a lot of positive things and a lot of negative things. Take those negative things, you can make them positive instead of the other way around. But I am definitely curious, Snake Lady, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about where you're feeling stuck and what's so negative, would love to dive into it with you further. Got you, man. Gotta go. Sounds good, Mason. If you want to shoot me a follow, would love to see you back in here. Yo, Unc, she stopped showing effort, and I matched the same energy, and now she broke it off. Yeah, you did the wrong thing. If she stopped showing effort, you don't match her energy. You say, hey, why are you not putting in effort anymore? What's going on? Are you going through something? You having a rough week? You have to confront this. If you play the same game, there's no masculine leadership there. Of course she's going to leave you. She's doing that to get attention. You're doing the same thing and not correcting her behavior, so she leaves. Now, that being said, maybe she would have left anyway, because her doing that and her stop showing effort is not a mature thing to do. But you have to have a conversation about it. If you just match the same energy, it's not masculine leadership. That's why she left. At least one of the reasons. I'm about to go into the Navy. Any tips on keeping my high school relationship? Well, it's going to be exceptionally challenging. This is a question of, do I actually want to be with this person long term? And how were we going to do this long distance wise? You have to create a really in-depth game plan and commit to it together. Thank you, bro. Have to go. Hope you have a good night or evening, wherever you are. Hey, you too, Mason. Love to see you back in here. Hold up. All right, we got a bunch of questions coming in. Let's see. Hello, good evening. What's going on, Andrea? I know someone, he is so cold and distant, I think he doesn't care for anyone. Well, it's not that he doesn't care for anyone, it's just that he feels a lot of pain and he doesn't know how to process that. So then he distances himself from people. And Johnny, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about this, we'd love to dive into it further. And for those of you guys that are commenting your question multiple times, don't do that. Throw your question down once. I'm going to get to it. If I don't get to your question, it's because it either doesn't make sense or it's a troll. I interpret it as a troll comment. But throw your question down one time. If it's a serious question, I'm just high up on the list of questions, so I'm going to get to you. Don't worry. Just throw it down once because it makes it a lot more complicated for me to throw it down multiple times. I've gotten 3 women blank within 2 months in the same town, and only my mom knows. What do I do? Well, you have to acknowledge the situation you just put yourself in. And you got to shoot me a DM about that because that's going to be a really in-depth answer. I'm at 13% body fat. I look good, yet I have body dysmorphia. I want to get leaner, but crash diets. Okay. If you have body dysmorphia, it's probably stemming from the mental. It has nothing to do with your body and the way your body works, especially if you feel like you look good, but you still have body dysmorphia, right? This is a mental thing. There's some other area of your life that you feel stuck in, and it manifests itself in your body, right? Look at where that could potentially be in your mind. And R, if you want to shoot me a follow and DM of where you think that might be coming from, would love to dive into it with you further. Poison Ivy said, you cannot correct people's behavior. You can only correct your own. No, you can't correct people's behavior, but you can confront them and invite them to change and evolve because everybody makes mistakes. So don't go and just say, oh, this person made a mistake. I'm not going to talk to them anymore. Cut them off. That's selfish. Now, when somebody does a behavior you don't like, have a conversation with them about it. And again, if they repeatedly do that, and that's crossing a boundary of yours, now we can talk about ending the relationship. But until you can correct people's behavior. Confront it. You can't force them to do it, but you have to invite them. Remy said, should you add a guy on LinkedIn? Should you add a guy on LinkedIn after leaving the workplace after 2 weeks, few eye contact, and a smile? So you don't work there anymore, but you want to add him on LinkedIn. I mean, why not? Are you trying to get a job offer, or you're romantically interested in him? Right Angle said, I haven't received that effort for over 7 months, nor felt emotionally or physically. Yeah, if you've been in a relationship if in the last 7 months of your relationship, Angle, you haven't felt emotionally or physically connected, and you haven't confronted that, and you just match the energy, like that's a big problem. You have to actually confront these things if you're going to have a change happen. All right, let's see. Someone said, do I miss my ex? No. How to be supportive when your girl's on her blank? No, it's not a weird question. How to be supportive? Acknowledge that some of the things that she says she doesn't mean, and she's experiencing a lot of emotions. So you can show up for her, give her space to rant, to have conversations. Maybe get her, you don't have to get her flowers, but get her something that she likes. Give her space. Not space in like distance yourself. I mean space in like a space to interact with whatever she wants to dive into or talk about, or just relax with you. But here's one thing that I do have to note to all of you guys, and this is very important, and women, if you don't agree with me on this, you're stuck. But a woman who's connected to herself will know this. Just because she's on her period, that doesn't mean she's going to be rude to you. My girlfriend does not use, a lot of women like to use that as an excuse to be rude to their partner. My girl is not rude to me on her period. Is she a little bit more emotional? For sure. And I cater to that, and I understand that. But she's not more rude. So if she is, that needs to be confronted when she's off of her period. She cheated and I caught her in bed with the dude. I feel like I won't ever be okay again. Waymo, I'm sorry to hear that this happened. That's a lot to process. You will be okay again. It's understandable as to how in this exact moment you don't feel that it will. Process these emotions. Don't run away from them. And Waymo, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about what you're really experiencing, I'd love to help you out with that. User said, I feel so stuck on how to move forward with life. What area of life are you trying to move forward with? How can I keep my motivation to stay fit? I'm 5 months PP, and it's so hard with PPD. I don't know what PP is. What is that, Christian? AHP said, I am a psychology expert. I'm a sensitive person. I'm very sensitive too. People who, how would I word this? People who conceptually think about things all the time think very deeply about life, usually very deeply sensitive, and oftentimes reject themselves from that sensitivity. That you don't want to do. So AHP, if you feel like the sensitivity is something you're battling with, I did a whole 1 hour lecture in my men's group, in my coaching practice. I'll shoot that lecture over to you completely for free if you just want to shoot me like a DM. Hey, I did a whole section around embracing your sensitivity. Yeah, helping a cold person become a sweet person. So helping them with it is a good question. You have to give them space in a conversation of like, hey, investigate and ask them questions like, hey, it feels like you've been a little bit cold or distant recently, or I haven't heard from you. Is there anything going on that you want to talk about? Right? And you can't force this. You have to invite them. But having them be like a calloused person to like then a warm, sweet person, that you can't force. That they have to do on their own time. Thoughts on breaking no contact? Guys, this concept of no contact is kind of stupid to me. You're either like together or you're not. And if you're not, you don't talk to each other ever again. This is how breakup, unless you have a child with your ex-partner, this is how breakups go. I'm gonna block you on everything. We're never gonna talk ever again. If this is the decision that we're making. Because there's no reason. There's no reason to still be friends with your ex or but if you're I don't know what's the no contact situation. All my point is here is like no contact. Again, it can work for certain people for a certain period of time. But a lot of the times makes you feel quite stuck. What if the relationship involves manipulation, blank, blank, or blank? I can't say those things out loud. Fane, if it involves that, shoot me a DM because we have to dive into it there. How do you quit blank? Well, you got to dive into what you're running away from. If you're trying to quit smoking, like what got you to start doing it in the first place? And whenever you feel a certain emotion, or you have to do a certain piece of work, or face a certain part of yourself, you then notice that you keep picking that up, right? So it's like, what are you avoiding? That's a good question to ask yourself, because as you face that, quitting smoking will be a little bit easier as you're actually facing those parts of yourself you're running away from. Poison Ivy said, yes, when I try to hold people's behavior accountable, they either deny, deflect, or gaslight. Poison Ivy, this is not all people. This is just the people you're talking to. If the people you're in a relationship with only deny, deflect, or gaslight you when you try to hold them accountable, you're not with the right people. You don't have a real relationship if people can't hold each other accountable. People who care about you and care about their growth care about being held accountable. If I'm doing something wrong in my relationship, I want my girlfriend to point it out, even if it makes me uncomfortable, because it's going to help us grow, right? Because I'm committed to her. People aren't committed to you, they'll manipulate you. I like your advice to confront their behavior. Glad it resonates. Not sure if it was just polite or more. Yeah, Remy, if you had a crush on him, reach out to him. Why not, if you're not working there anymore? Let's see. Blue Steel, this is a good question, actually. Do you think you really have enough life experience to offer advice to grown-ups? It's a good question because I've helped over 100 men and women in my coaching practice, and most of, if not all of my clients are older than me. I have clients in their 40s and their 50s that are married, that are divorced, that have kids, that are going through relationship problems. So absolutely, I have enough life experience to offer advice to grown-ups because I do it every day and they benefit from it. How to not feel everything deeply every day. Amelia, you're trying to get closer to your sensitivity, but you're rejecting it, right? Here's what's going on. You feel everything deeply. This is a trait of who you are. This is your essence. Especially if you're a woman, it's your feminine nature. You're rejecting that in yourself. How do I not feel everything so deeply? It's not about not feeling things deeply. It's about developing a deeper relationship and an understanding that you feel things deeply and catering to different situations and conversations on how to dive into this more effectively. And yeah, Amelia, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about like what you are feeling deeply that you're feeling stuck with, would love to dive into it with you. May I pose a question? Sure, it's what I'm here for. I'm in a blank relationship with another man. He controls everything I do and who you talk to. Yeah, you got to shoot me a DM about that because that's not a not a good place to be in. Let me correct myself. We've been together for 5 years and she stopped showing effort. Yeah, but see, even there, like if you were together and she stopped showing effort, you still can't just match the behavior. You got to have a conversation about it. Confront that when she Poison Ivy said, "Lol." Confront that when she's off her monthly. Yep, that's what you got to do. Loda said, "Do you ever feel like nothing you wish for actually is ever going to happen, or you'll get them?" I used to feel that way. Now I am certain that all the things I wish to come true are coming true because I'm constantly working towards them every day. If you wish for things to happen but you're not actually doing anything about it, for example, I want to make more money, or I want a beautiful relationship, or I want a deeper connection with God, and you're constantly doing the same thing every single day and you're feeling stuck by that, nothing is going to change. So your idea of I feel like nothing's changing when I wish it would is true because you're not doing anything. That being said, if you're doing something effectively and it's just taking some time to see the results, that's possible and you just have to be patient. There's a difference between patience and waiting. Patience is constantly doing the work, you're just not seeing the results yet. Waiting is I'm waiting for someone to come and save me. That's not going to happen. So Loda, if you're feeling stuck of like what you want to actually get in your life, shoot me a follow and shoot me a DM about this, and I'd love to help you out with it. Let me send you a DM to be more specific. Sounds good, Angle. Looking forward to connecting there. How do I find my motivation to grow? Or actually, I can't say that on here. How do I find the motivation to blank? You have to see what you connect to. What's the purpose in your life? What's the passion? If you don't feel like you have any, how can you develop that? Crystal, if you feel called to, I know you already follow me. If you want to shoot me a DM about where you're feeling stuck, would love to dive into it with you. AHP is a good question. Are people who are too honest liked because their speech is spontaneous? Not necessarily. People who are honest are liked not just because their speech is spontaneous. That could be a part of it, that they're not questioning what they're saying all the time. Like, I don't question what I say. You guys ask a question, I just go. But people who are honest. But here's an interesting thing about what you said here. You said too honest. That shows your perception about this, which is that somebody can be too honest. What if you can't be too honest? What if you being too honest is just being real? And that's what allows people in your life to level up, and what allows you to level up and live an authentic lifestyle. What if that's true? Oh, PP is postpartum. Oh, okay, got it. I didn't know what it was short for. I don't remember her original question. Trying to work out after postpartum? Shoot me a DM about that. Coach, my parents forced me to do some religion-related stuff, and I don't want to. What should I do? How old are you? Are you under 18 or over 18? Snake Lady, yes, I'll have a day when I'm very cranky and only see this in the end of the day. Sorry, not sorry. Wait, what do you mean? Was that in response to another thing I said? There's a lot of questions coming in, so. Your wife makes fun of you? That's a problem. How to impress and make a girl think you're funny? If you have to make a girl think you're funny, that means you're not funny. Develop actual charisma. You don't have. This is the mistake that guys make. I want you guys to all pay attention to this. Guys are like, oh my god, a girl wants a funny guy, so I just have to make her laugh all the time. It's like, yeah, but to make her laugh, you don't have to be a jokester. You have to be real, right? Point out things that are obvious. Have honest conversations and naturally come up with stories when they come into play. And a girl will find you funny just for naturally expressing yourself. Anna said, I'm a personal trainer in Canada, but my first language is not English. I would like to improve English. Nice. Drowning in debt. You're in a roommate type of marriage and job. Yeah, we got to dive into that in the DMs, Crystal. Do you think that if someone ignores you, you should confront them or also ignore? You have to confront them. Tell me, what do you get? If somebody starts ignoring you that you care about, and you just start ignoring them back, what are you hoping to gain out of this? You're just creating more pain for yourself. If somebody ignores you, say, hey, you're ignoring me. What's going on? Right? You have to have conversation with this if you want a successful relationship in any capacity. Hi, Brad. How you doing? It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Double. Welcome in. Hey, man. How are you? Doing good, Nicholas. How you been? For those of you guys that are spamming the same comment, please don't do that. Throw your question down once and I'll get to you. Why do people get tattoos? Some people like creatively expressing themselves on their body, and some people like to make permanent decisions while having a temporary mindset on it. And a lot of people get tattoos uh, to run away from their problems in some capacity. Like it's like a classic joke of like, oh, a girl with a butterfly tattoo like sleeps around. It's like, it's kind of true, right? Now, that being said, it doesn't mean people who have tattoos are bad people in any way, shape, or form. There's people that creatively express themselves and connect to it, and there's people that do it as a coping mechanism, like they do a lot of other things. So it depends on the person. It depends on the person. There's a lot of different reasons. You miss your ex, you can't get over it. How long did you and your ex break up? I need to ask something. Ask it down below. We're not having people on the panel, so just shoot me a DM if you can't ask it here. Sarah said, Sarah, what did you say? Hold on. Brad, did you say that women need to make sure men don't become lonely or bad things will happen? No, Sarah. My video that got 12, what, it got like 12,000 views. All of the women in the comments completely misinterpreted what I said because they let their egos get in the way. Here's exactly what I said. There's this new culture going around where people say, oh, men aren't lonely enough. And I made a claim that, you know what happens when men are lonely? They destruct things. They create chaos. They make the world worse. And as a woman specifically, if you're supporting the narrative of men should be more lonelier so there should be more destruction, don't be surprised when more destruction shows up when you interact with men. That was the point I was making in the video. And then a lot of women in the comments said, oh, so you're saying it's our responsibility, we have to do something about that. I'm like, there were 0 words that came out of my mouth that said that. You're just projecting that onto me. So, Sarah, to answer your question, no. Did not say that. This isn't about relationships. These are people in general, even friends and family. Yeah, if your friends and your family just constantly can't take accountability for themselves in your relationship, because those are relationships, it's a problem. It's a big problem. These have to be confronted. You're running on empty, out of hope. All right, well, we got to dive into that, Crystal. Let's get that back. Is my window green screen? This is not a window. This is a TV. Thought that was obvious. Oh, you said, oh, that was a TV. You realized. What if you feel like you're not being appreciated enough? Well, yeah, here's the uncomfortable truth about not being appreciated enough. You can't force people to appreciate you, but make sure you appreciate yourself. And getting into relationships and communicating with people that do appreciate you is going to be important here. Because there's always going to naturally be people that you do things for and they don't appreciate it. It's only natural. You can't force people to interact with a certain way. I'll give you an example. This morning, I like to talk to new people when I'm at the gym in my morning gym sessions. Sometimes I'll ask someone, hey, can I work in with you? Start a conversation with them. About 2 people that I went up to today, both like rejected that. And I was like, hey, can I work in with you? It was like, oh, no. Right? It's like, oh. So I could have said that, and I did take it personally for a second. But it's like, wait, now that doesn't have to do with appreciation, but it is in the nature of like, hey, they don't have to be nice to you. They don't have to appreciate you. You can desire them to, don't expect them to. Now, if this is a relationship with somebody deeply and they don't appreciate you, that we have to have a further conversation about, Seabass, if you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about that. Let's see. Remy said thanks. Yeah, of course. Why do I feel like life is senseless after listening to Robert Blank theories of no free will? I have not listened to his theories, so I don't know what exact information you're coming in with, but free will, no free will, everybody has a different perspective, and if you dive too deep into that philosophy, you might just lose yourself. So maybe focus more on philosophies that will benefit your life, because there are things you're in control of. I just chose to do this. I can choose to end this live right now and go do something else. You can control your life. Don't forget that. Too honest or flat out rude? Well, here's the thing. If you're presenting honesty, you can present honesty in a non-rude way. Somebody may interpret it as rude because they don't want to face that truth. But if you're being honest, that like people saying too honest means like being too rude. They're 2 different things. Oh, it was in response to, okay, got it, Snake. Tell him if he has to explain the joke, then it was never funny. Exactly. You have to be effortlessly funny and witty. Absolutely, it has to come naturally. How to be good at math? That is probably the only question I can't ask. I can't answer for you because I'm horrible at math. Um, let's see. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, of course. Felt like I lost my self worth 12 years later. Approval seeking and people pleasing. I'm lost. Okay, yeah, Kurt. 12 years later of a pattern that's been running itself. So now you're just people pleasing and you feel stuck. Again, like you just said, you don't feel like your self worth is there. So you constantly try to meet your needs through other people, but you're actually just rejecting your needs. Start to ask yourself, if you feel like you're not worthy, what are my needs? What would make me feel satisfied? And how do I create small steps around actually integrating that and getting closer to that? Might be in the form of asking people to do things for you, having more in depth conversations, confronting certain parts of yourself, starting new habits, quitting new habits, could be a lot of stuff. So, Kurt, shoot me a follow and shoot me a DM about where this is coming up for you. And let's get you from being lost to being connected. I have a simple question about your opinion. Are you proud of yourself? I am proud of myself. I don't tell myself that oftentimes, but I am. So I appreciate you bringing up that question. Someone said just don't focus on relationships. That's a bad idea. Do not listen to that. Does my neighbor's wife really love me? She's always so frisky. I don't know, but she's married, so could be pretty dangerous to engage with that, Carlos. Might want to find someone who actually cherishes you for you and isn't cheating on their partner, because then they're going to cheat on you too. I texted her on Instagram just to hi, and her friends have been staring at me for over a month. Can you break that down for me? We should ask our inner self for advice. You definitely should do that. Why can't men form a support group to combat their loneliness? Well, I run a men's group, so I do that with men. But most men have very big egos, so they don't want to share their feelings because they don't know how to experience their feelings on their own time, so they refuse to share it with anyone else. Hey, Brad, how are you? Doing good, Sonico. What's going on? What's going on, Mandy? Would it be considered bare minimum effort if you only text good morning and good night? Yeah, that's pretty bare minimum. Now that being said, you don't have to text all day every day. Me and my girlfriend don't text all day every day, but we give each other slight updates on what's going on, how's your day going, how are you feeling, because we care about how things are going. But again, it doesn't mean that he doesn't care about you. It just means that, yeah, that's not a crazy amount of effort. How do I stop acting like I don't see women who are interested in me and get over myself? Stop acting like you don't see women who are interested in you. You're rejecting love and connection in your life. You don't feel you're sufficient for it. That's why you keep rejecting it. Ask yourself why. Give you a good starting place. Will it ruin your life to take blank, Mr. said. I personally wouldn't suggest you doing that, but I'm not a medical professional, so I can't, some people do them with like doctor approval and maintenance, but I wouldn't suggest doing it. Jake said, how do I focus? I always doom scroll in my phone. Put your phone in another room when you have to do certain tasks that you have to get done. You can't focus because you have something that's instantly pleasurable right next to you. Get that away from you. What should you eat for dinner, Chris said? Steak. I've heard you will never forget people and they always swing back. They will always swing back whether in a form of physical entity or hearing their name again. Stampedo, I'll give you a real cool example about this. I don't know if cool is the right word, but very interesting, right? I had an ex-girlfriend. You ready? Her name was Ryan. Ryne. Very unique name. Anyway, when in a relationship for a year and a half, I felt like I screwed her over. A lot of stuff that went on in that relationship. I felt guilty for the next year. Didn't date any women. Isolated myself. And my current girlfriend's name, who I feel the most connected to I've ever felt to someone in my entire life, has a very similar name. Not the exact same name, but it's pronounced in almost the exact same way. So very interesting, right? And the universe has an interesting way of kind of bringing these things back up. Before we had elders that got us through life. Now we have 20. Thanks for your comment, Lotus. You're not helping anybody. Is a life coach a good person to talk to about overthinking? There's a lot of different type of life coaches, but in terms of overthinking, that is something I definitely specialize in with my clients for sure. So, what is it? Melanie? Is that your name? If you want to shoot me a follow and a DM about what you're overthinking about, would love to dive into this with you. Because look, you're overthinking. You're overthinking about something because your mind is trying to get you to pay attention to something and start to work on it and integrate it. You're just thinking about it, not doing anything action basis wise. So you constantly feel stuck and you're fighting yourself. To stop fighting yourself, you actually have to dive into the deeper components and see where it's coming up and what you can do about it and what you can control. Because there's always something. Me and him hurting each other. When I told him for us to just break up, he refused. When you're telling people to break up, like, hey, we should break up, and then they refuse that, and then you guys keep blaming each other, like, what we're Shaw, shoot me a follow and a DM about this because this is a pretty toxic dynamic. Is it overreacting when dating for months and he doesn't save your number in their phone? No, I don't think that's overreacting. That's kind of wild. A lot of times I know exactly what to do, but I have so many things to do, I don't know where to start. Yeah, Justo. Schedule things out in your calendar. 12 p.m. I'm going to do this. 1:30 p.m. I'm going to do that, and commit to that. You have to schedule out things if there's so many things to do, and do it in a small capacity. I'm going to start this thing for 15 minutes, not an hour, because that overwhelms me. I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. Give yourself some small actionable step, and you'll be on your way to actually building. How to stop being lazy. You're not lazy, you're just disconnected. You don't care about the thing that you're trying to do. So find a way to get connected to it, or do something else. Or if it's just a monotonous task, like if you have to wash the dishes, put on some music, listen to a lecture, something that you enjoy in the meantime. Why do men think you're hitting on them if you're simply being nice, like you are to everyone? Because men are wired to look for interest, and that's like men and women are meant to be with each other romantically. So he's not going to interpret your niceness as just niceness. He wants to be with you. So that's why that's why. All right, everyone, we got about 3 more minutes on here. I got a session with one of my clients. I don't want to overwhelm her with affection. What is too much? Both 21st relationship. There is no such thing as too much affection. And that being said, if you depend on her and you have no life of your own, that's pretty bad. But if you're showing her a lot of love, care, and commitment, and she doesn't have a split, meaning she doesn't feel disconnected and she's going to reject that in you, if she actually wants a long-term relationship like you do, giving a lot of affection is going to be it's going to be great for you guys. But yeah, Beef, feel free to shoot me a DM about this of like specific examples, and I'll kind of show you what's right and what you might not do. Sup, Brad? What's going on, Dari? Going through a divorce. What's going on, Crystal? He wants to stay with me in my new house, date others. How do I turn that down? Yeah, you're going through a divorce and he wants to stay with you and date other people. That makes zero sense. You got to have a deep conversation about this. Now, if you want to figure out how to form that, shoot me a DM about it, Crystal, and we can dive into it. Just because I'm answering the last few questions really quickly. I got a session with my client in about 3 minutes. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. How should I stop then? Nope, that's a troll comment. Thank you and everyone else's questions. Some I relate to, very interesting. Listen. Glad it resonates. You get bullied. Do I have any words? Stop accepting the bullying. You don't have to. It's supporting the narrative that you already feel about yourself. You feel stuck, then people bully you and you feel more stuck. Start to confront their behavior. Sometimes I feel like nobody likes me. Do you have solutions? Well, do you have actual reasons as to why nobody likes you, or is it just a narrative you're projecting in your head? Right? Give me the examples of why you feel like people don't like you. And then we can dive into it. Been in survival mode since 16, now 28. Fight or flight. Yeah, definitely we want to dive into this. If you're feeling numb and suppressed, yeah, and it's going to keep you not taking action, feeling stuck in the same place. We want to start to give you the small steps to start to address this. So, Kurt, looking forward to connecting in the DMs. I could use some help. I have a crush on my best friend, but I don't know how to tell him. You don't tell people you have a crush on them. You initiate flirtation and see if they reciprocate it. You think because your weight is out of the standard. Oh, you're saying romantically you don't think people like you, or in other areas too? How do I get her from wasting her money and save like me? You have to have a deep conversation with her about it, and like, hey, why is she spending money on these types of things? And again, if she wants to do that, you can't control it. Sent you the DM. Sounds good. Looks like you changed your profile picture in the process, too. What's going on, Rue? Tried to hang out with a male friend for support, and he ended up being very forceful, part 1. Yeah, Rue, men and women can't be friends. Sorry, guys. We're not built to be friends. That's why when you have sex, you create a life, right? You're not supposed to just be friends with each other. Because when a male is especially if a male friend is then comforting you, like after like a breakup or something like that, like he wants you. And he's always wanted you. Very difficult for men and women to be friends. Not impossible. Very difficult. Yeah, no worries, Rue. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Lila said, men and women can definitely be friends. Give me an example of that, because every single person, yeah, you have loads of male friends. How's your romantic relationship going? You probably don't have one. And if you do, he doesn't like that. What about male coworkers? Look, if you're working with other guys and you're having like conversations with them, like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, you have male coworkers that you talk to and you connect to. Like, yeah, absolutely. But it's about intentionally. For a life coach, you're very negative. I'm not negative. I just like to give people actionable steps that actually helps them with their life, so they don't keep living in delusion. Anyway, I love you guys very much. I appreciate your presence today. If you guys enjoy this TikTok live, shoot me a follow. We go live 7 days a week. I got a session with my client now, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you guys very much. If you guys have any further questions that I did not answer, shoot me a DM. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Shoot me a follow. Would love to see you guys back. And peace out, everybody. See you soon.